Ready or not, here we go into 2022. We're already in the middle of the first month. I can't believe it. So what we're going to talk about today is making sure that you are going to be moving forward with your dreams and your goals. So tune in and let's get started.
You have a story to tell, but you don't know where to start. Let me show you how to free your story. I teach you how to write and how to dig deep in your soul to release your story and make a difference in the world.
Welcome to the Julia Amante channel. If we are just meeting, I am Julia Amante. I'm a women's fiction author and here every week to give you some writing tips and advice that hopefully will help you write your own book. All right, so today what we're going to be covering is looking at your dream of writing. I talked about that last week and now we need to get started, right? I know I need to get started. I'm going to be writing a new book this year. And I want to have an outline done by the end of this month, and then I want to start writing the book. I don't know about you, but the last 2 years of dread and inaction have really gotten to me, and I really just want to move forward with writing. I really want to think about progressing and doing the things that I love rather than focusing on all the negatives and all the fears. I know they're there and I know it's a reason, I know why we have kind of sat here with sort of fear and not being able to move forward, but I think it's time for all of us to be able to follow our dreams and not wait. And I know sometimes we can just kind of sit back and kind of wait to see what happens. And it kind of creates this feeling of not moving forward and just waiting. And we don't want to do that. I know I don't want to do that. I want to move forward with my writing. I have no idea what's going to happen this year. I have no idea what's going to happen next year. But I do know that I want to write my next book and that I need to take steps to do that. And so I want to do that with you. I hope that you are also excited about writing and that you're also, enthusiastic. You have a project that you're thinking of. And I want to talk about some of the reasons that maybe people tend to not move forward. Not only, just life and the things that are happening around us, but sometimes just internally, right? We want to wait until everything is perfect before we decide to write. And the thing is that nothing is ever going to be perfect, ever. So even if everything went back to 2019, we had no fears, we had no problems, we had no financial issues, we had nothing, life would still not be perfect. So you can't wait until things are perfect before you start to write. You have to find time to write. And you can't even wait until your writing is perfect, until you feel that yes, I'm ready. I've done all the studying. I've done all the stuff. So I did talk about that previously. So I just want to kind of reemphasize that you don't need to wait until things are perfect. You just need to go out there and start somewhere. I know that every new thing that I've done, not only writing novels, but just having children, having whatever, right? Any new decision that I've made, I haven't been ready for it. I've just decided that it was time to do it, and that I was going to try and hopefully be successful. My very first point is that you need to be willing to fail. That you might, and you need to be willing to do that. Because if you're not willing to do that, then you're going to have a hard time writing, because that's what we do. We fail all the time. So as writers, we write something, it turns out not to be what we wanted it to be. It just doesn't sound right. It's not flowing well. The plot that we thought was going to work just kind of sounds boring. It's not going anywhere. So those are things that happen all the time, and we have to learn to get around that, work with that, and say, okay, how can I fix this? Or can I fix this? Maybe I can't. Maybe the story isn't going anywhere. It's not the story that I thought it was going to be. It's not as exciting. It's not as, the character is kind of flat, or the character isn't transforming, or something might not be working the way that you thought it was going to work when you first thought of it. So be willing to jump into something and be willing for it not to go well. Not that you want to expect it not to go well. You want to expect it to go great, of course. Every time I start a novel, I think it's going to be the best novel I've ever written. I don't go into it thinking this is going to be terrible, But I have to be prepared mentally that if it's not what I thought it was, and I need to be able to see if I can do something else with it or if I can just move on to a different project. It was the story of this writer, and I can't really remember who the writer is, but was tired of getting rejections. And so this story just kind of lets the writing world. And so he took a best-selling novel, a classic or something, and he wrote it, right? He wrote it out and he sent it out to agents and editors just to see what would happen. And it got rejected. So what he was trying to say or prove to himself is that, you know, even classics, even novels that have sold millions of copies, will get rejected. And so it's not just me, it's just other things, right? It could be a variety of things. So maybe depending on the book that he wrote or he copied, was that, and he wasn't trying to plagiarize it, he was just trying to make a point. Um, but depending on that, when that book was published, maybe that book is just, obsolete now as far as the way it was written, or maybe just the story isn't as interesting in today's world as it was back then, or maybe the editor agent that read it was, it didn't strike them, it didn't touch them. Maybe they recognized it and said, "Hey, somebody's plagiarizing someone." We don't know, right? So there are a lot of reasons why things get rejected. And this is kind of what this writer was trying to show, is that it's not just my writing, it could be, but it's also there's a variety of other things. So I can't be afraid of failing, because I probably will. It probably will be rejected, and maybe accepted at some point. If you're self-publishing, it doesn't mean that you're free of rejection, right? Because you could write it and you can get terrible reviews. You could get people that just don't buy the book. So it's part of being a writer, and you can't be afraid of that. Not every book is going to be amazing. Hopefully, every book will just help you to be a better writer, and that the next book will be better and better and better. That should be your goal, not that you're going to write this amazing book that's going to be a bestseller forever. That doesn't happen to anybody anyways. Even the people that write bestsellers, the next book they write might not be as good as the last one. And that's always a fear, right, that writers have. So what we should be doing then is controlling what we can. We can control our writing. We can control how we write. We can control how well we write. Right. And you never know, right? You might hit that magic, sort of that elusive book that really catches people's attention, and that's the dream, and that's why we write. So we want to do that. We just want to control what we can do, how much better we can write each time, and how we reach our readers. So being out there on social media, talking to people, talking about your book, that helps you to hopefully make connections with people and find the right readers for your story and your book. And that's what you want to focus on, not all the other things and failing, because that's part of it. So if you let that stop you, then you're not going to move forward, and you really want to move forward. Okay, and one of the reasons that you actually want to do this, you want to write your book, is because there is no alternative, right? What else are you going to do? You might say, well, yeah, there's an alternative. I could just not write, or I could just quit. But is that really an alternative? I was just having this discussion with someone about something different, more just about life things, about, well, I could just not do whatever it is I want to do. But sure, you can. You can not write the book. But if you are a true writer, that's going to bug the heck out of you, because you're going to feel like something is missing, like you need to write. So not doing it just isn't an alternative. So since you're probably going to have that feeling of, I have to write, why not try it anyways? Why not go out there and write the book that you want to write, that book of your heart, and try to sell it or try to publish it yourself? Why not do it? If you feel this need that you want to write anyways, and I'm not saying you have to publish, by the way, just write the book. You don't have to sell it to anybody if that's not what you want. Not everybody has that desire. Some people might want to publish it only for just for their family. Maybe they're writing a memoir, they're writing something that is important to them, and they don't really care for the world to read it, and that's okay too. Or maybe you want to write it in sort of your own journal that you leave for your children, And whatever it is, it's not really the publishing part that I think is important because not everybody wants that, but it is the writing part. And I think a lot of people, I think most people want to write a book. And I don't know what it is about us as humans that we feel this need to write a story, or tell a story, or write our own story. But most of us feel that way. And the reason I say that is because almost everybody that I meet tells me that they have this desire. I have a book I want to write someday, right? So since you have that feeling, why not try it? Why not do it? And then see what happens. Okay, and then the last thing that I want to mention today is success. Like what be willing to have success in your own way. So I think a lot of times we judge our success, whether we're a successful writer, based on other things, based on other writers that we know, or based on what other people are doing, or based on what society thinks is successful. And I think that's a huge mistake for a few reasons. First of all, that you don't want to compare yourself with other writers because that doesn't help you. They're on their journey, you're on your journey, and everybody has to follow their own, right? So some people are really going to find their readers right away. They're going to write a story that just hits people in the massively in some way. We don't know why, right? So why do books like Eat, Pray, Love touch so many people and become massive successes, or Harry Potter or whatever, right? Well, we don't really know why. It was the book that was needed for that time, and people found it, and enough people shared it, and it just became what it became. And we have, again, no control over that, right? So if we want to judge success on that, like I wrote and only 100 people bought my book, that's fantastic because that's 100 people that you reached. So it's not that you need to be successful, as far as like having millions of people read your book. And some people do have that as their goal, and that's good. And that may happen, it may not happen, but I don't believe that that's the way that you should judge whether you're successful or not, because it's so all external. We have no control over that part of it. And I'm going to leave you then with a challenge to take this literary leap and to take a chance and to try to write the story that you want to write. And it might be to write that dream story, or it might just be that you already did, and the chance that you're taking now is to try to publish it or to submit to agents or editors, whatever that might be. I want to kind of challenge you to do that, to go out there and take this chance. And do something great in 2022. I think that we've had enough negativity and fear, and I want to move past that to hope. And as writers, we get that opportunity to do that for readers. We get to write our stories and bring hope and happiness and encouragement to people. And I think that that's needed right now. And I think that you are the one to do it. I'm the one to do it. Also as writers, we get to create our own life, and we don't want to forget that we can write our own life, our own story. And your story hopefully includes having this book written and having that as part of your history of having written this story down. Okay, so I hope that you have a great week. If you like this message, then please hit the like button and share. And then I will see you again next Friday for my next tip on how to write. See you then.